Okay, let's go ahead and start. We last time we're talking about the altering the flow of our program. Specifically, we have an if statement we can use, and the if allows us to vary the flow of the program. If this is true, then we'll do this code. Otherwise, we'll do this code. Well, there's other ways we're going to alter the flow of the program. This is on the website docs.swift.org. It's the official site for the Swift programming language. Not necessarily for everything you need to do in the Xcode environment, but specifically focusing on the language itself. We'll flip back and forth between tutorials point and this. Although really their documentation out here has gotten a lot better. We have a for loop. A for loop is where you repeat something over and over. Um, for example, if I'm moving a pile of rocks from the front of my house to back of my house, and I got a wheelbarrow, then I'm going to keep taking wheelbarrow loads back from the front to the back until the rocks are gone. So you continue something for however many times. Now in this example, you got names equals Anna, Alex, Brian, and Jack. See how they have quotes around it? Those are strings. And we got a bracket here indicating a list of items. This list of items we're going to see later on is called an array. And we're going to see a different way of going through this list of items. But with the for loop, you can do something of this type. For name and names, the name refers to our array, our list, and then the name is the variable we define. And then print hello, and then you see our slash, and then beginning parentheses, name, and close parentheses. And that'll print these items right here. Now this, so you can iterate over a dictionary that accesses key value pairs. What we have here is spider is tied to 8 because a spider has 8 legs. Ant, I guess, has 6 legs, and a cat has 4 legs. So you can think of like it's exactly the same principle as a dictionary. If you look up a dictionary word, you're trying to find the definition. And so you use the name of the word as a key in to get more information. So same principle here. So for animal name, comma, leg count in number of legs, and the animal name refers to the spider, ant, and cat, and the leg count refers to 8, 6, and 4. And number of legs, of course, is our list, our array. And then down here, we print both those items. Now that didn't really show you the power of a dictionary yet, but we'll get there. First part of this course is really focused on teaching you basic programming skills. So some of you I know are bored with this because you're already pretty good at programming, and some of you have never programmed before, so I have to take that into account. Okay, now here we got a for index in 1 dot 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 5, so you have to have 3 dots, and then we'll print. You see 1 times 5 is 5, and so forth. This is looping from index equals 1 to index equals 5. And I already got a sample program that I created so we could look at it. Okay, so what this app is going to do that I've created is it's going to add all the numbers from 1 to whatever number they input. For example, if you put 5, or I probably can't do 5, let's do 4. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus another 3 is 6, plus another 4 is 10. So now if I click that, it'll add those up. And let's see, what I've done here is I've created two state variables, snum1 and snum2. snum2 is going to be where my answer is going to go. Don't ask me why I didn't call it answer. Or S answer for a string. Okay, there, maybe it makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so I got two state variables declared. snum1 is going to bring in a number, and then sanswer2 is where I'm going to write my answer. You got a text field for snum1 here, and a text field for sanswer. And then we got our button defined. Our button has action associated with it. We declare variables num1 and sum as integer. I initialize sum to 0 because I'm going to be adding it over and over. And then I got num1 equals to int snum1. That'll take whatever is input into this blank and convert it to an integer and assign it to num1. And then I want to loop for x equals 1, 2. That's what that dot, dot, dot implies, 2. So from 1 to whatever number's input. So if they input 3, it'll go x equals 1, x equals 2, x equals 3. If they put 5 in, it'll go x equals 1, x equals 2, x equals 3, x equals 4, x equals 5, and so forth. Let's see. And then within here, I'm going to sum it. Sum equals sum plus x. So the x is the variable from right here. Now notice I do not have to declare x up here in the var. By using it in my for loop, implicitly I can use it while that for loop is in existence. After it gets done running, I don't think you can query x. I never have tried. Excuse me. And then I'll write out my answer here, where I take the value of sum and write it to a string. Okay. Let's say I wanted to change this. I want to add all the numbers between one value and another value. So I need a S start. Maybe I'll put underscores. I need to develop my own kind of convention I want on that. Starting number. Text field ending number. Declare my starting or my state variables up here. S start. S end. Okay. And they're pretty simple changes. Okay, so that's my starting, and then num2 is going to be, I have to declare it, but it's going to be my ending. Excuse me. S start, S end, Okay, so then this, instead of starting at 1, is going to go from num1 to num2. I didn't like something. What am I forgetting? Num1. Oh. S underscore start. Okay, so start and end. So this would be my start. Boy, I really need to wake up here. End is sometimes a reserved word, so this may be a issue. That looks fine. So I go from my starting number to my ending number. Okay, let's run that. Okay, so if I want to add numbers from 3 to 5, 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 5 gives me 12. And that gives us 12. Now I'm wondering how you go backwards. I'm not sure if I've ever done that in Swift, so let's do that. I'm gonna create a separate part here, and maybe I'll put it up below that. Okay, that's VStack. You think I'd learn and label these, but okay. So I'll put another text field here. And never have done this, so we'll see how this goes. Numerator, and then text snum. Text field, denominator, I like writing brand new programs instead of just going off of a script. A little bit of a thrill. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? State var s num equals to blank. State var s denominator equals blank. Okay, the idea here is that I'm going to be bringing in the numerator and denominator, and I'm going to have a button that I'll click that will simplify the fraction. So that's my goal. In case you're wondering, I'm not going to give you anything real complex in terms of numbers like that. The assignment I'm assigned for today is to do the factorial, which I'll talk more about here in a little bit. It's very similar to that first example I did where you're adding the numbers from 1 to whatever. So if you go back and look at that example, you're going to pretty well have it for the factorial. Okay. Need my button. This will be the challenging part as I try not to include too much. I'm going to copy that since that's what I struggled with before class, getting everything lined up and all braces and so forth. Okay. So I'm going to have numerator denominator, and I'm going to say index. Now initially my index is going to equal to the numerator, but I guess I need to bring in numerator first. So num is equal to int s underscore num, and then the exclamation unwrap it. Denominator is equal to int s underscore denominator, the exclamation unwrap it. And index is going to equal to num, numerator. Okay, so for x in 2 to or so this is the part that's a little bit tricky, is I actually want to go numerator to 2. That's part I'm not sure how to do, but we'll figure it out. It might handle it automatically for me, which would be fantastic. Some of them you got to tell it this like step go down by 1. Okay, and then down here, I want to check to see if the numerator and denominator is both divisible by x. So if the numerator, I think it's percent, x equals to 0, and it's either and or 2 ampersands if it's like any other language. Denominator percent x equals 0. Brace, closing brace. Then numerator is going to equal numerator divided by x, and denominator is equal to denominator divided by x. No errors. That's interesting. I was figuring I was going to have to Google it. Then my answer. Well, s underscore num1 is equal to numerator. No, I don't want that. I want that. Is it s num? Yes, it is. And s denominator is equal to denominator. And then my button down here, I want to say simplify fraction. Okay, I'm going to click resume. Now let's go through and check it, see if it works. Did I not use index? I should have. I should have put an index here. Excuse me. And for those that like math, I'll explain how it works here, if it works. Excuse me. Okay. Let's put 20 over 60, which should give us 1/3. Didn't like something. Did not like the fact that index was bigger than the 2. So let's go back. That's the part I was thinking wouldn't work. So I was correct. Wish I was a little bit better at Safari. I should actually make the effort to download. There we go. Swift.org. I should make the effort to download Google Chrome. Now I went to Swift.org, went to documentation, and then there's a language guide here, language reference also. And then I go to control flow. Okay, so I'm looking for one that's going down. 1 to power. Starting at 0. Ah. Hmm. No, I didn't really give an example. I can do it with the while loop. Let's see here. Swift, for loop, decrement. Looks like there's three possibilities. The -1 means that it decreases by 1. Not sure what dot stride does. This looks a little bit more promising the reverse. For IN, let's try that one. For XN, put parentheses around this. So that'll stop that. Okay. Index to 2 dot index. Let's do the 2 dot index. Dot reverse. Did I say reversed or reversed? Reverse. Has no member reverse. I think. Why do you put stuff out there if you don't know? Stride for X in index dot stride through 0. Sometimes it doesn't like when you actually type those out and wants to put those in there for you. By -1. Like something. Well, Back to Safari here. Swift, for loop, decrement, decreasing. We Heart Swift. That's got to be a good one. For loops. Okay. For value in range, your code will crash. Yep. Reversed. So 1 to 10 reversed. So 1 to 10. 2 to 10 to index dot reversed no errors. That's promising. Okay, let's run that. See if it blows up. 2040 gives me 1/2. Okay, let me put something a little bit more complex there. 1020 to 2000. I don't know what that reduces to. Obviously 51 over 100. Okay, so we wrote an app to simplify a fraction. So what did I do? I didn't mention I just coded it. I don't know how to bring up Notepad on this thing. TextPad. Text edit. When you go to simplify a fraction, like 10 over 20, if you remember this from way back when, they taught you different ways, but one method they taught you is to think of the largest number that divides into both of them. In this case, they're both the top and bottom are both divisible by 10. Well, that's what I did here. When I did the 2 dot 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 3 dots index reversed, means I'm starting with index and then I'm going down to 2. So index I set equal to the numerator. You can actually set it equal to the numerator, denominator, doesn't matter. But you have to set it equal to one of them. Then it's brute force. Let's say for our 10 over 20. Well, that's a bad example. Let's say this is 8 over 20. So it starts with my largest number, 8. And it says, hey, is 8 divided by 8 give you a remainder of 0? It does. 8 goes in 8 one time with a remainder of 0. Then 20 divided by 8. Does that give you 0? And no, it doesn't. So then it goes to the next number. It goes to 7. And it divides 8 by 7. It says, does that give you 0? No. Goes to the next number. 6. 8 divided by 6 doesn't give you 0. 8 divided by 5 doesn't give you 0. Then it gets down to 4. And it says 8 divided by 4 is 2 with remainder of 0. And 20 divided by 4 is 5 with the remainder of 0. So this is doing the same thing that you do in your head. You're thinking the largest number divides into both of those. And you think, okay, 8 isn't it, 7's not it, 6 is not it, 5 is not it, 4 is it. Some of you are a little better at numeracy, and so you can just look at it and see. This right here, the percent is checking the remainder if it's equal to 0. And if If the remainder of both of those equal to 0, that means that number divides into both of them, which means go ahead and divide both those numbers by that x. And then you print out your result. So it's a fairly simple idea on simplifying a fraction using that. Okay. Now I'm going to have another answer blank in here. So I'm going to have an answer here, and we put an answer right below it. Answer 2. Text S answer 2. Create a state variable. Like that. Now here, I'm adding all the numbers between this one and this one. And that's, let me change it back to 1. So I'm adding all the numbers from 1 to end. So I don't need start anymore. And I don't need my starting number up here. And I don't need my starting number here. And get rid of the start here. Assuming I haven't broke it, we want to calculate the sum a different way. So we're adding all the numbers from 1 up to a certain number together. There's another construct called a while. I don't know why, I just seem to lose my Safari windows. I know it's my lack of knowledge. Oh, here they are. Okay. Where's... I seem to have lost tutorials point. Okay, I'll just show this. While loop is a little bit different. The idea of a while loop is you have to, it doesn't say it here, but you need the initialization first, where you initialize a variable equal to something. Then you have a Boolean condition here, returns true or false, and then you have your statements inside. Same principle as the for loop, except for the while loop, we may not know how long it's running. I don't see any real simple examples there. There are some simple examples over in tutorials point. Okay, so I've done my for loop here, and down here I'm going to do my while loop. This one was my for loop. Okay, so var end val is going to be an integer. In index. Excuse me. We initialize index equal to 1. Now I'm going to check while index is less than or equal to ending value. I need to set ending value, and then my braces. Now our ending value is going to come from the ending number blank here. So same principle as up here where I retrieved s underscore n for the ending number is what I'm going to do right here. Not there though. What am I talking about? It's right here. End value equals int s underscore end. then unwrap it. Within here, I'm going to add my sum together. So I'm going to reuse sum. So down here, I'll set sum equal to 0. And then here, I'm going to say sum is equal to sum plus index. And I need to increase index. Then after I'm done with that, I need to write it out to the form. So S answer 2 is equal to slash beginning parentheses sum close parentheses. So let me run that and see what happens. So my ending number, put 3 in here. Then I click add, and it gives me 6, 5, or 53 even. Gives me that. Okay, difference between these is, I talked about generally what for loop's doing. The while loop. This is not so obvious, so let me write these out here. Okay, let's say they put 3 in for the ending value. So it comes down here, sets index equal to 1. Sets the ending value equal to your ending value, and I said they will put 3 in there, so that's 3. And sum is equal to 0. Let's initialize that. Got a drink here. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. I'm not sure where that is. Comes down here. With a while construct, you need an initializer. So you initialize it to a value. That's what this index equals 1 is. You need your while, and then you need a Boolean check that returns true or false. So it's checking. Is index, which is 1, less than or equal to end value, which is 3? It is. That's true. Which means it's going to do what's inside the braces. So it comes in there, says sum is equal to sum plus index. So it gets the old value of index, which is 0, the old value of sum, which is 0, or wait a minute, the old value of sum, which is 0, the old value of index, which is 1. 0 plus 1 is 1, and then assigns it back to sum. So this becomes 1. Then index is equal to index plus 1. So it increases that by 1. Comes up here, does this Boolean check again. And it says, hey, is index less than or equal to end value? Well, 2 is less than or equal to 3. That's true. So it comes down there, it says sum is equal to sum plus index. So it gets the old value of sum, which is 1. The current value of index, which is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. And assigns that to sum. And then increases index by 1. Does the Boolean check again. Is index less than or equal to the end value? It is. 3 is less than or equal to the end value, which is 3. It's not less than, but it's equal to. So it comes down and does line 39. Sum is equal to sum plus index. Gets the old value of sum, which is 3. Current value of index, which is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. And assigns that to sum. And then increases index. Then it comes and does my check. Index is less than or equal to end value. Is 4 less than or equal to 3? No, it isn't. That's false. So it comes down and does the next line after the closing brace for the while and does this right here. So that's how that works. For structures are really good for looping through array elements, lists. They're good if you know how many times you're going to go through and do a process. A while is more geared toward you don't know how many times you're going to do it. Now, the three things you need for your while, important to keep in mind. You're going to have like an index, a number that's going to you use to keep track of how many times you should go through the while loop. And you need an initializer on that. That's that right there. You initialize it to a value. You need your Boolean check. That's what that is right there. And then I'm going to call it increment, but it can be decrement, it can be whatever calculation. But you're going to need to change that index. Increment. There we go. So you have to have those three pieces. People will create infinite loops real easy by leaving off on line 40. Okay, let's go to Safari. Let's see what else it says. That is just too complex of an example. Appears like I didn't need the parentheses around that, but doesn't hurt. I get so used to doing that in other languages that I'll slip up and do that many times in this language. But you see they're checking while square is less than the final square. I don't really like the repeat while. The difference between that is just doing a Boolean check at the end, which means it'll do one pass no matter what through your code. And there are times where that is handy, but I can do everything with what I've been showing you. Okay. Well, I don't think I want to move on to the next topic there. So let me talk about the project this week. I want you to program the factorial using a for loop and a while loop. Of course, you need to know what a factorial is. So let's take a look at that. You're going to have the user input in a value. So they'll put in like 5 into their app. And then the factorial is you multiply the numbers from 1 up to that number. Like that. 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5, I think gives you 120. That would be, and looks like this. 5 factorial is equal to 120. Well, how's that different than the one I gave you? Let's take a look at that. I want you to do the for loop and a while loop, so I want 2 of them. So you have 2 blanks for your answers. Guess I didn't redo that. I was wondering why that would look wrong. So it'll look like this. You'll have your ending number, you'll have your answer, and you have answer 2. Your button shouldn't say add. Change it to what's appropriate, your choice. Calculate in factorial. You could have it say calculate. You could have it say factorial. You could have it say multiply. The difference here is where we're adding sum is equal to sum plus x, you're going to multiply. So you probably don't want to call it sum if you're multiplying. And the second difference is instead of sum is equal to 0, you'll have your sum, or whatever your variable name is, product, equal to 1. So you want to start at 1, not 0. Because 0 times anything is 0. So if you start at 0, it won't work. But if you start at 1, 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 won't screw it up. 1 doesn't actually change anything. So not too shouldn't be too bad of a app since I gave you this code here. Um, Next week we'll go into the next topic. Um, each week we'll pick up more and more programming knowledge, and probably about the halfway mark, then we'll switch over and focus more on the app specific. So, but we'll go ahead and stop there.